So last fall, we'd been planning this for a couple months, but myself and two friends, we decided to go on a long distance bike ride, long for us. It was 150 kilometers from Toronto to Niagara-on-the-Lake. And I decided I wanted to take this bike. This is my single speed commuter. I love the geometry of it. I love the stretched out feel. I like the short chain stays. Everything about it I liked, and I wanted to take a single speed on a long distance ride. It's a pretty flat ride. It's along the shore of Lake Ontario, so I figured it would be pretty good, and it was great. I loved it. But that ride convinced the three of us that we really want to do bike touring. So we've already started planning for other rides. The first one's going to be this summer in the Highlands of Ontario. It's probably 60% rail trail, gravel roads, back roads, a lot of hills, a lot of uneven terrain. And we've got other plans too, to go to Portugal maybe in December. I'm planning to go to New Zealand with another friend, and probably Australia too. So all of that led to me, for the near future and for my considerations of bike touring and adventure biking, to buy this, the 2018 Specialized Diverge. End of the season, I got a pretty good deal, and I'm going to go over with you now what I think of it. I've only put a couple hundred kilometers on it because it's winter here in Toronto and I don't really want to fall on the ice. So these are my initial thoughts. So what I like about this bike, I like the flatter drop bars. They're compact drop bars, which gives me a nice range for when I do go actually into the drops. When I'm riding on the hoods, it's a nice position. I like that they're flat and not riser because, again, it contributes to that more aggressive ride position that I like. I like the Tiagra group set. It's a 10 speed. I like the 2x chain ring. My bike has a 48-32 front to an 11-32 rear. So it's a pretty good range. I know the 2019s are putting a 50-34 front and 11-34 rear, which I would have preferred, but this will do me for now. And because I got such a good price on it, when I do have to update the drivetrain, I can do it then. Not a big deal. So one of the problems I have is with this bike is the front derailleur arm, which Shimano puts on all its lower to mid group sets. But it's got the arm that when you put it on the large chain ring, the arm goes right into where the tire is. And this bike is spec'd up to 38 millimeter tires. As you see here with the 35s, with the chain arm on the large chain ring, there's hardly any room there, and it's going to affect how I put fenders on here, and it's going to affect probably a larger tire. So I'm going to put on the 105 front derailleur, which is a more compact design, and it won't interfere with the tire. So that's my one downside on the bike. Other pros, I love the geometry. I especially like the short chain stays. They do limit my choices in fenders, but I'm going to try a few different options. I'm going to put on bigger tires, see how that works, and then I'll see how the fenders work. And I want fenders that I can remove because I don't want to leave them all the time. I like the thinness of the seat stays because it does have a compliant ride. I wasn't sure. This is my first aluminum bike, except for my full suspension mountain bike, but it's my first aluminum road bike. So I was a little dubious of how I'd like the ride, but I actually find it pretty good. It's pretty compliant. It actually rides nicely. I added a 100 millimeter stem, so I get a little more stretched out position. I like a little more aggressive geometry, so I'm finding that this bike suits that. Because I'm a shorter guy, this is a 52 centimeter bike, and I like it because I can put the seat up a little higher. I've got good standover height, and the head tube isn't very tall. On some of the bigger models of the Diverge, the head tube is quite long, and it makes for a taller ride, and I don't like the taller ride. I like how this bike is set up, and I like the way it works. Happy not to have the Future Shock for, again, the same reason. It puts me in a position where I like to ride. I don't know that I'd want it. I mean, I've heard it's good, and if I do find that the front end beats up my arms and my hands, and there are options with suspension stems, some of which are pretty good now. And I'm glad I got aluminum. I've seen so many horror stories about carbon bikes when they crash, and sometimes it's not a big crash. Sometimes it's just enough where the handlebar spins into the frame, but it damages the carbon so that the frame's done. It's toast, it's trashed. This bike I'm going to be taking out on trails, I'm going to be taking on gravel roads, on sketchier roads, and I want to use it. I want to use it for packing. I don't want to be afraid of it. So having aluminum, I know it's going to take some hits and bounce back and keep riding. I've had an aluminum mountain bike for 20 years and it's great. I've had no problems with it at all. So I'm definitely happy I got the aluminum frame. Everything about this bike I've set up the way I like it. I might change out the seat. I'm still not sure. I've only put, as I said, 200 kilometers on it. So other than that, beefier tires and clipless pedals. I like mountain clipless pedals. Those are what I ride on all my bikes because they can clip on both sides. And that's it. I'm happy. The Specialized Diverge 2018. I think I'm going to like it. I'll give a more extensive review when I've had a few more thousand kilometers on it, probably later this summer. So as usual, hit that subscribe button so you can join me on more of my adventures on a dad bike. Thanks for watching.